Hey guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa, and on this channel we read, discuss, and obsess over books together. And today I'm going to be doing my February and March wrap up. I didn't read a lot of books in February, so I didn't feel like it was substantial enough to do a wrap up. So I thought instead I would just kind of tack them onto my March wrap up, which ended up being more books than I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Because I'm doing 2 months in one, I am gonna skip like the Storygraph statistics portion of this video today. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I don't think Storygraph has the ability to do it like over 2 months unless you pay for like Plus or something like that. So instead, I will just be talking about each book individually. Starting with a reread, I reread Heir by Sarah J. Maas in February. It was because I was planning to get into Queen of Shadows again, and it has been a year since I read Heir, so I wanted to reread it just to like refresh my memory of what happened so I could be good going into Queen of Shadows. I do plan to read Queen of Shadows like this weekend, so this was a great reread, rated it 5 stars again. Also, I had a goal to reread 3 of my favorite books in this year, and I've already achieved it because of this one and Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So, really loved this. Definitely recommend the series. It's good enough that I've reread it already. Next, we have a Harry Potter book. So this is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I rated this book 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed this story. I think it just wasn't as entertaining as I think this is the 4th book, so as the 3rd book for me. I really loved Prisoner of Azkaban, and this kind of just like, I think is a little bit slower. It is a lot longer as well, so yeah, still really loved it, still love the Harry Potter world. I'm definitely going to continue. Next, I read my first Kristin Hannah book, and this was actually a book club book. It's called The Great Alone, and oh my gosh, I loved this book. I rated it 4.75 stars. It literally lost 0.25 just because of the ending. I found the ending a little bit rushed and kind of like out of nowhere. It really felt unnecessary, and like she had written this really well-paced book for the ending to just be not what I expected, and not that the ending has to be what I expected, but it really felt out of left field for me at least. But I really loved this book nonetheless. Like I said, 4.75 stars. It was my first Kristin Hannah book, and it was really, really good. It's about this family who the father just came back from the war. He wants to kind of like move the family out of the city. He thinks it's not helping with his PTSD, you know, the loud noises, etc., etc. So they decide to move to rural Alaska because he gets left this house, and it's literally just him, his daughter, and his wife, and everything is kind of following the daughter. As winter approaches, things in the house also kind of get a little bit scary, and it's just a very, very emotional read. Definitely look up trigger warnings, but a very good read either way, and I cried so much. Those were the 3 books I read in February. That was literally it. They all are kind of chunky reads, but although the quality of the books was amazing, like I feel like my average star rating was literally like 4.5 stars or something, I just didn't read that much. So I started off strong with a Rebecca Yarros book. I decided to read The Things We Leave Unfinished. I have heard so much about this book kind of like after I read Fourth Wing, and I really wanted to try it, and I'm so glad that I did. It's basically about this woman who, like, her great grandmother wrote all of these books that are really, really famous. They're really famous romance books, and she has one manuscript left that is basically the story of her and her love during, I think, World War II, I think it was. And this manuscript, the great-granddaughter's mom, so the granddaughter of this woman, tries to sell the manuscript to get it like kind of written, and the great-granddaughter, wants to protect this because she was really close with the author, and it's a kind of then and now romance where the person who is being hired to finish the book is a person who is known for like very tragic endings in books, and she is kind of dealing with him, and it's kind of like a love story between them while they are also finishing and going through the love story of her great grandmother and this man who she was in love with during the war. So it was such a emotional read, such a good read, and that's why it ended up being 5 stars. It was so good. Rebecca Yarros definitely knows how to write emotional war stories. Next, this was kind of something that I started in February and finished up in March. I read 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. So this was a book club book that I did end up finishing by the end of February, but I finished it right at the beginning of March, and I rated this 4.25 stars. I really liked it. It was kind of about 2 authors, but their experience as Black people who are going through kind of life experiencing racism and prejudice, just trying to like release their books. And then the other part of it is that they're also going through some stuff in their own personal life that is just life. So it was a kind of, honestly, to me, kind of like a literary fiction romance. I really loved it, and I would definitely recommend it. I think it just didn't feel like a 5-star for me, and I ended up landing on 4.25 stars because it still felt like more than a 4-star. I don't know how to explain my rating system. A lot of times it has to do with feeling, and it's really hard to explain. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend this book. Next, I continued the Finlay Donovan series with Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead by Elle Cosimano, and I rated this one 4.25 stars as well. I really liked this. I have been loving this entire series. Her writing is so much fun. The story is so much fun. Finlay is so funny, but also like obviously things that happen in this book are super unrealistic. You kind of have to go into it knowing that it's going to be a comedic, cozy mystery. So yeah, I definitely loved it, would definitely recommend it. I don't explain what it's about because I feel like if I do, it kind of explains or spoils the ending of the first book. So yeah, would recommend it though. It's so good. It's basically this like single mom who she kind of just keeps on getting herself into these criminal situations. Yeah, very fun. Right. Next, I read another Kristin Hannah book because we ended up choosing it for book club. It's The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. This book was like an instant 5-star for me. I understand why everybody loves this book. The rating for this book on Goodreads is so high, and I cried a lot throughout this book. I really liked this book. I would definitely recommend it. It's kind of about these 2 women and their experience through World War II in France when France was invaded by Germany, and one of the sisters is like a big rebel. She's kind of younger. She wants to really help with the war. Her story is so amazing. And the other sister is one who she kind of has to stay at home in their small town. She has a child she needs to take care of, and she experiences a bunch of things that kind of like a lot of women in the World War who kind of had to stay at home while their husbands were at war experienced. And the story, again, like I'm literally getting emotional when I think about it. It is so good. It is so good. It helped me understand World War II so well. And it was also just an interesting perspective because it wasn't taking place mainly in like a main kind of part of that entire invasion, and it was taking place in like a small town in France. So you got this kind of like interesting perspective of people who didn't really know what was going on, and all they really had was propaganda and what kind of soldiers and their town leadership told them. So yeah, it was such a good book. I would definitely recommend, and I will probably reread it one day because it's so good. It's so good that I bought the deluxe version because I just loved it and I wanted to put it on display. All right, so after having a lot of good reads, my reads kind of started to go down a bit in terms of like quality. So first I read Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, and I did like this book. It was an entertaining book. The writing was really good. I loved that it was following these 3 sisters, and also you kind of got the 4th sister a bit. But I think by the end of it, it just kind of felt like the last few chapters, first of all, a lot of things kind of got wrapped up and fixed that was just so out of character. Like the way that these sisters had acted throughout the entire book, there was no conceivable way in my mind that they were going to come to the resolution that they did at the end. So that was one reason. And then another reason I think was just a lot of the stuff that happened in it. Like it felt like it was just filler. Like we were kind of just going through the motions. There was an entire portion of one of the sisters that I didn't really enjoy. I found it kind of dry, but overall I did love that you kind of got a character story of each individual sister. They each had their own section. So I ended up kind of landing on 2.5. I feel like in hindsight, I might have rated it 3 stars, but maybe I set it on 2.5 because something had bothered me, but I can't remember what it is now. But yeah, I would still recommend it. A lot of people love this book. I think I'm genuinely like, literary fiction is very hit or miss for me. Sometimes I feel like they lack plot. Don't come for me, literature people. But I think it depends on the book as well. Like a lot of literary fiction books I love, and then some of them I'm just like, meh, I was kind of bored. Next we have Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. If you know me and you've watched my channel and watched my videos, I love a good Riley Sager book. I've rated most of them 5 stars, 4 stars. This was a 1 star for me. By the end of this book, I was so mad and annoyed by everything that was happening and the utter lack of thrill that I was experiencing throughout the book. It took me way longer than it needed to read this book. Usually a thriller I can finish in 1 to 2 days. This took me like 5 days. And I didn't enjoy it. It didn't feel like a thriller. It felt like I was listening to old men that just can't grow up and are like holding grudges. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. That's all I'm gonna say about that because I don't wanna insult. Anyway, next I actually did have a good book, Know My Name by Chanel Miller. So if you don't know who this is, Chanel Miller was the victim in the Brock Turner case. At the time, she was referred to as Emily Doe to protect her identity, I believe. But she wrote this book to A, kind of identify herself, and B, tell her story. And I rated this 5 stars. It was an amazing, amazing memoir. She's a great writer, by the way. She had wanted to become a writer for a long time, and she's a great writer. And the way that she tells this story and the absolute like female rage that I was experiencing throughout it, and I could just feel her feelings. I was crying, I was angry, I was at some point just so disgusted with men and the judicial system and just society at a large for letting stuff like this kind of happen. But definitely recommend reading this memoir. I think it's important for everybody to hear her story from her point of view and not just what kind of the tabloids and the news was saying. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. Next I read Expiration Dates by Rebecca Surley. So this one I rated 3 stars. I really liked the concept of the book. Like, I loved the whole magical realism part of it. The concept is that she kind of like, every time she has met a man, she would find a piece of paper right after that would say their name and a time period, whether it be 2 days or 3 months or 2 years. And that was her indication that she knew that this is when her relationship with them would expire. And one day she meets a man and she gets the piece of paper with his name on it, but there's no date on it. So she is convinced that this is going to be her forever person. She always thought it would say 40 years or 50 years or whatever, but it doesn't say anything. Now, I feel like you go into that concept, great. And then execution, the writing was great. Like I said, I rated it 3 stars, but I think throughout it, it was really hard to root for the couple. Like, I couldn't figure out what couple I was rooting for because we were going back and forth between her kind of experiences with these expiration dates. And at the same time, it's a very short book. Like, this is a 250 page book. So to be using half of that time showing us love and romance with other people, and then only half of the book is romance with this current person, and then what the ending ended up being, I just felt like I wasn't rooting for the couple, and by the end of it I felt a little bit empty, if that makes sense. But I still really like the writing, and I don't know, so I ended up rating it 3 stars. I was kind of disappointed by the execution, but I still really love the concept and the writing was good. Next I read Sunrise on the Reaping. I don't have the physical copy of this. I literally audiobooked it and ebooked it because I wanted to wait to see if like any special editions come out, because I freaking loved this book. First of all, I rated it 5 stars. It was my favorite book of March, my most anticipated release of the year, my most anticipated book, my most anticipated movie of 2026. I cried so much. It's not even funny. Like, I was crying during chapter 2. I'm gonna start crying thinking of it now. That book, I don't know what Suzanne Collins' brain does. If she's okay, like someone needs to check on her. I need to be checked on as well. I'm gonna start crying thinking about it. If you don't know, and you haven't read The Hunger Games, basically Sunrise on the Reaping is the story of Haymitch, and Haymitch is the mentor of the 2 tributes in The Hunger Games, the first Hunger Games. He's a previous victor of the games, he's a mentor, and he has always been one of the most dynamic characters, a character that I've always been so intrigued by. I loved his character, and so when I heard that this book was coming out, I was so excited. And I literally read it as soon as it came out. Like, I had it on hold with the library 2 days before it came out because it had become available in the library. And then I literally just kind of bit the bullet and ended up using my Audible credit for it because I was like, I need to listen to it now. So glad I audiobooked it. Again, this was just an amazing book. I feel like I could keep on talking about it. You need to read it if you haven't. Read the entire Hunger Games saga. Literally, my cousin, she was like, I think I need to catch up because I only read the first book, or I read the books a long time ago of the original trilogy, and I only watched the first movie, and I was like, okay, you need to reread, you need to read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then you need to read Sunrise on the Reaping, and then we need to cry together. I also did a reading vlog for it, so if you want to see me cry, go watch that. It's spoiler free if you have read the Hunger Games. So okay, anyway, moving on. Next I read Daydream by Hannah Grace. So this is the 3rd book in the Maple Hills kind of series that she has going on. First one is Icebreaker, very popular. I think I rated that one 5 stars. Second one was Wildfire. So this one, first of all, very Taylor Swift coded. Loved the Taylor Swift references. They were like subtle enough that I wasn't like, oh. Like, I don't know, I just loved it. Like, the way that she kind of snuck them in was super fun. I did rate this 3.5 stars. I found that a lot of the time they really just felt like friends. It didn't feel like a romance. It's following Henry, which is one of my favorite characters in the first book, and her name is Hallie, and basically he needs help studying and she needs help with writing her book. She hasn't had a lot of dating experience and is writing a romance book, so he said, hey, I will take you out on some dates and stuff to like kind of show you the experience, while she is tutoring him or helping him kind of like with his ADHD, which I loved the neurodivergent like ADHD rep in this. I thought it was really good, and again, the Taylor Swift, but the romance part kind of fell flat for me and it wasn't spicy enough for me. I was expecting a really fluffy comfort spice read and I didn't get that. So yeah, not my favorite, but I still would recommend it. All right, the last book that I finished was I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney. So I'm gonna start by saying that this entire book, until 95%, this was a 4-star read for me. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I thought that it was very intriguing. It kept me entertained throughout, and I was looking forward to the ending to kind of see what it was gonna be. And then I got to 95%, and I got to the ending, and it dropped it to a 2-star for me. For some people, that ending, very good. I think if you are a Karen Slaughter fan, you'll like it. My issue is that the book gave no indication at any point that it was going to be that type of book. Yeah, I was expecting a twist. I was definitely expecting, you know, some gore, some graphicness maybe, but I was not expecting the person who it ended up being and just how icky I would feel. So yeah, 2 stars, that's how I feel. I literally can't unfeel it. I don't know. Okay. I also DNF'd some books in March. The first book I DNF'd was The Games Gods Play. That's what I thought. The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. It's not that it was a bad book. First of all, I don't own this book. It was a book club read and I genuinely probably would not have picked it up. It's a YA book and it was giving like Greek mythology Hunger Games. Honestly, basically the concept is that this girl gets chosen by Hades to be his champion, and each god has a champion, and the champions kind of have to complete these different labors, and there's a labor for each god. So think about how many Greek gods and goddesses there are and how many labors that would be, and you're going through the entire book, which is like 500 pages or something, going through these labors. And honestly, I kind of just started to get a little bit bored, and then the romance with Hades just wasn't that good. Like, I've read other Hades romances, and also right in the beginning of the book, for some reason, my girl Persephone is dead in this book, and I feel like that immediately was just like a no for me. Yeah, so know that it's a Hades romance without Persephone. So I feel like that also kind of like flipped me off a little bit because I'm not used to that dynamic. And it's also YA-ish. Was it YA? Now I don't remember. Is it YA? Either way, I just felt like it tried to be too many things at once. And yeah, it was just definitely giving like Hunger Games, Percy Jackson type of vibes, but like it just wasn't my favorite. So I decided to just stop because I probably wasn't gonna finish it, and I just didn't need to. Like, I've read books like it before, and I will probably read other Greek mythology books as well, so it just didn't feel necessary for me, so I decided to stop it. The other book I started and decided to stop is a novel love story. I literally DNF'd this at like 40%. I honestly was just really bored. I don't know how else to explain it. It's about this girl who, like, she gets stuck in this book, but I think the book was just so, like, the book that she gets stuck in is so like just like fairy tale weird, not even fairy tale, it's like the characters in it and the entire thing, like I think the execution just wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I might try and pick it up again in the future maybe, but I did get bored and I decided to just move on to other books because I don't know, I've been trying, I have a goal this year to DNF 5 books that I'm genuinely not enjoying, so I decided to DNF it. Usually when I'm thinking of DNFing a book, I'll also look at some reviews online to just see what other people ended up kind of feeling by the end of it. Like, is this worth me going through? Like, is it just something that I'm feeling in the moment? And I feel like a lot of the reviews kind of were echoing kind of what I was already feeling. So yeah, we'll see if I end up maybe audiobooking it just for funsies one day. But yeah. Anyway, that is all of the books that I finished in February and March. Regardless, they were very good reading months. February was a high quality, low quantity, and honestly, I would say March was a mix of quality, but a lot of quantity. For April, I have a big goal to finish my entire TBR. I just uploaded my TBR video if you want to go watch. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below what you read in March. I would love to hear. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye.